is 10 a.m. Good morning to all.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Carolina Commission on Disabilities and Special Needs September 16th meeting. At this time, the meeting is called to order. Notice of meeting statement by Commissioner.
Meeting notice announcing that the place of September 16th. Board Commission meeting was received on September 13th, 2024 to the public media or individuals who requested notification. The announcement and agenda was posted at the Department of Disabilities and Special Needs, Central Administrative Office, and on the website. The public has been notified that accommodations such as interpreters, mobility assistance, or other assistance will be provided to individuals with disabilities and special needs if requested in advance.
Thank you. Adoption of the agenda. I need a motion to approve.
Moved.
Do I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Invocation. Commissioner Barrett.
Thank you, sir. Let us pray. Dear Lord, I ask you that you would give a special blessing of hope to each person in our system that has a disability. I ask that you would help them understand that all true Christians will be made whole someday whenever they get to heaven and perfect. And whatever your problems are today, they will be wonderful at that time. We ask that you would give each of the commissioners here wisdom for this meeting and keep us safe throughout this day and throughout this month. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you very, very much. Now we will have approval of the August 15, 2024 Commission meeting minutes. Need a motion to approve. I have a so moved. I get a second.
Second.
David, did you? Go ahead. I thought David wanted to say something about the minutes. Did you want to say anything about the minutes, David? You there? Oh, he did.
We have a second on the floor. Commissioner Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Need the commissioner's update. Commissioner Malfris.
Thank you, sir. I only have one update today, and it is that I recently learned of something called the Neurological and Physical Adaptation Centers that were founded some years ago from a lady who had a child that had almost a drowning incident, and they are state-of-the-art facilities. There's about 8 of them. I mean, there's 5 of them in America, and they are state-of-the-art facilities for children with adaptive therapy and neurological and developmental disabilities. And their purpose is to create hope for their clients and to have them reach their full potential. And the closest one of those state-of-the-art facilities is in Austin, Texas to us. But I hope to visit there someday, and I just thought you might want to be aware of that in case they were ever there and would like to see it, or other parts of America too. And that's pretty much my update for this month.
Thank you for the update. Commissioner Thomas.
Can you hear me?
Sir.
I don't have anything, but I was trying to get through while the minutes were being read. There was a question I had about in the minutes about where we were supposed to be determined to have the not have meetings, and I'm not sure where we came out with that, Mr. Chairman. Can you tell me what months are off for the meetings?
Currently, David, it is.
I believe it's December and January.
December and January and July and August. I think I had spoken about the fact that I had advocated for monthly meetings, but since we decided to do this, that it might have made more sense to me to have it to be off in November and December, as you had mentioned too, but I don't know. As opposed
I
to
forgot,
January.
Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Barry. Mr. Chairman, I had sort of forgotten. It seems like I had suggested that we look at November and December rather than December and January. I had no hard feelings about it either way, but I thought it was kind of up in the air. Can you tell me if I might have zoned out or something? I don't know. Did we make a decision, or did we sort of hold it in abeyance?
I don't think we did not approve it last month. We talked about it.
You voted.
Okay.
And
We
it was like
technically-
no July. It
We
was like,
technically
We
did
voted.
vote, but we
We
could vote
voted.
again.
yeah, but then like we could approve in September. Was my
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes, sir.
let's do this. Get with the state director. And you all, whatever you work out for if we won't be able to do it in this meeting, but we'll, if we need to revisit that, if that's okay with, the commission, we'll do it then. Is that okay?
It's fine. It's fine with me. So we're bumping the decision to another time. Is that it?
Yes. But I thought we had voted on it though, but just get with, we did, we
It was
voted,
like no July, no August, no December, no January is
yeah,
what
but
I
we
wrote
did,
down.
go back and, just get with, Commissioner Thomas.
According to your minutes, Commissioner Thomas made a motion for the commission not to meet in the months of July, August, December, and January.
Correct.
However, if there's a need to meet in those months, the commission then obviously will meet. The motion was seconded by Commissioner Woodhead and then unanimously approved by the commission.
Correct.
So no July, no August, no December, no January.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
So we did vote.
as a commission, still get with, the state director, okay?
Are you asking me, or are you asking everybody?
Well, you can take the lead and have on behalf of, the commission, and then whatever it is, because all we're dealing with is, the month, am I
It
correct?
looks like it may be some desire to, instead of it be December and January, it'd be November and December.
That's
Right.
right. There
Yeah,
is,
so-
there's a desire about at least two of us. I don't know
Yes.
about three, but there's.
That's okay, so can easily, just get with the state director, Commissioner Thomas. on
Yes,
behalf,
sir.
And we can move forward. You and I can talk at any time.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Yeah, when that critiquing was going on by the audit council, and they came out with the report, I don't recall what it seemed like they were more concerned about subcommittee meetings than the full commission, I thought. Excuse me, that's my clock in the background, not me. And I had thought that what when we met with one of the senators that seemed to really be concerned about this, the concern was more with subcommittees, I thought.
It was clearly
but
one.
And so, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if we need to sort of throw that in. I don't think it would be too wise, actually, because you'd have all your finance stuff going on, that would require more meetings during certain times of the year. And if you tried to limit that, that wouldn't be wise at all, and you'd have to deviate from what we're doing right now. And that's trying to come out with something where does anybody have a concern that maybe?
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this, Commissioner Thomas?
Yes, sir.
Why don't you get with the state director and then get back to us, and then we can decide.
Okay. All righty. Okay. Thank you, Mr.
I
Chairman.
appreciate you. Okay. Dr. Cora. Commissioner Woodhead. All right. Public input, do we have any?
No, we have
Public
none.
input?
We have none.
Okay. Programs and services. For Injury Awareness Month. Rita, how are you?
Good morning, I'm well.
That's good.
And so I'm really excited to talk to you, as always, about National Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. Violence is the third largest
cause of spinal cord injury in our state and nationally, and so we opted to focus on this topic this month. As in previous awareness months, we've been sending out weekly newsletter to DDSN central office staff containing spinal cord injury information and statistics, some of that containing information specific to violence. Also, I have reported to you before that DDSN central office staff have a hankering for suites that we can exploit for fundraising purposes. So we held our 3rd annual Suites for Spinal Cord bake sale last week, and a bunch of volunteers from the agency made tons of sweets, and folks came in and purchased all of those, and that resulted in we raised $1,372 just from that bake sale, and that will be donated to the South Carolina Spinal Cord Injury Association. And then later in the month, we are hosting a Be Smart presentation at DDSN Central Office for our staff here. That campaign was launched in 2015. The purpose is to promote responsible gun ownership in order to reduce child gun deaths, but also we know that smart gun ownership can also reduce spinal cord injury. So representatives from Be Smart will be discussing the importance of gun safety with DDSN Central Office staff, and we'll have free gun locks to give away to staff here. At the end of the month, several of our staff will be participating in the Spinal Cord Injury Association's Superhero 5K. That's on the 28th here in Columbia at the Maxie Gregg Park. And this is a great opportunity to get in some exercise, but also to support a great cause. And I have left the best for last. I'm constantly amazed by the people that we serve and their ability to overcome adversity. So this month we've been able to highlight 4 individuals who are served by our agency who sustained spinal cord injury as a result of violence. Those 4 individuals graciously consented to being interviewed and telling their stories of survival and hope. And then the DDSN communications team assisted my team to complete those interviews and articles. We're sharing 1 story per week for the month, and those are hosted on our social media channels, and we're trying to get those up on the website as well. And at your seats, you have folders with a copy of those interviews so that you can take a look at those. And we hope that you'll take the time to read them, to watch the interviews, because these stories truly reveal the strength and the resilience of spinal cord injury survivors. And we've really been inspired by the stories. We think you will be too. We're really thankful to have the ability to highlight those individuals that we serve. And that encourages us to do better work. So thank you.
I have my T-shirt.
Yeah. One of our staff designed a T-shirt this year, and so those who are interested on our team were able to purchase those T-shirts, and I know that we extended the offer to executive staff as well. So thank you for participating.
I got a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd like to say I wish you would come every quarter instead of just once a year to highlight the HASKI program. I really think that would be important for us to do.
I'd be happy to.
I think we would really like that because there's other things you could highlight each quarter, or at least semi-annually. But anyway, I just wanted to ask, in regards to the HASKI waiver and the waiting list that we had, we haven't had a waiting list except, to my knowledge in history, except since 2020, since July of 2020. And so my question is, automatically added to the waiting list of HASKI, just like they are with the other waivers,
Yes,
whether they want to be or not?
Yes, at the time of eligibility, yes, sir.
What do you have a direct responsibility to the waiting list as director? I mean, like, do you have ideas on how we can decrease, like a couple of ideas on how we could decrease the waiting list time? Because it's 1.8, it's 1 year and 8 months now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we would require additional funding in order to do that. DHHS really sets the numbers that are available, and also they draft the waiver document itself, which indicates the number per year that we're able to serve. So that would have to come through collaboration with Department of Health and Human Services.
So really, your opinion as to why we have a waiting list is directly money.
Yes, sir.
There's no other reason. Okay, thanks.
Any other commissioner?
Well, I just want to say thank you for presenting, and I think you're doing a great job helping those in South Carolina with spinal cord injuries. I know that obviously my family is personally affected. I'm sporting my shirt, not the same one, but it's a spinal, for
Absolutely.
awareness. But I just want to say thank you because I know that you've been a great resource, not only to my daughter, but to many individuals that we've spoken to, that I've spoken to. So I just want to thank you for.
Well, thank you so much. It's obviously a team effort.
Director, any comments, thoughts?
Well, I missed the bake sale last week, so I'm just trying to see if we can run it back again.
We had some really good stuff. I'm sorry you missed it.
I missed both days, so, yeah.
There's a lot of people I saw in the
Yeah.
pictures. There was a lot of people that joined
Yes,
it.
a new staff person, sorry, I'll stand back up. A new staff person who recently joined us mentioned that she had heard it's like Black Friday. And so that was the first time I'd heard that, but really it is. There was a line kind of down the hall of people waiting to get in the door when we opened up at 10, so.
You guys are doing great work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And I'm sure that those that we serve appreciate you even more. Thank you. New business, tab 3, Regional Center renovation. Need a motion to approve.
Oh, well.
Constance, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So, I'm doing this video. So this project, Regional Center renovations, is a project I'm very excited about that I lost, I don't know how many hours of sleep in conjunction with the team. Courtney, I'm gonna go ahead and have you stand up because I'm sure I'm gonna have to ask you something. First of all, I want to start off by thanking personally Courtney Crosby, Carolyn Benson, Rob McBurney, Claire Thompson, numerous other state agencies such as the State Engineering Office, MMO, Rick Harmon, who's part of JBRC, you name it. This has been a very collaborative effort. It's taken tons of time, not only for internal individuals, but all other agencies that stepped up and offered assistance when we needed. So the Regional Center renovation is a project, it's a life-changing project for the individuals who we serve in our 5 regional centers. You all are aware that we did a strategic plan, my years are running together now, 2022. Part of that strategic plan is that we decided that we wanted to establish the DDSN regional centers as centers of excellence in specialized care. We are still working towards identifying more goals from that strategic plan. But in April of this year, I got a phone call from Senator Bennett. Senator Bennett had visited one of our regional centers and had some concerns in regards to the status of renovations. He asked me 2 questions that I thought were very important. 1, do you have the funds available to do such a project? And 2, what do you need from me to be able to do this? We had quickly identified the funds that we had available for the project. The second part was what could he do for us? And that meant removing some of the red tape that causes delays in construction. Therein lies, we came up with the proviso 36.14, that was passed as part of the 2024-25 General Appropriations Bill. That allowed us to do a complete assessment of all our regional centers. We then subsequently hired 5 architect firms. 5, right? Yeah, 5. They know I'm not good with numbers. Those 5 architect firms did a complete assessment of all our regional centers. We made priority in the renovation plan to anything that was residential. Secondly, any areas where their program activities. Third priority is administrative, and then 4th is demolition. As of now, because these numbers will change, because I don't know who built a house recently, but every time I looked up, the numbers for my construction project were changing. Like this, everything becomes more expensive. The numbers as of now with the complete assessments is around $96 million. No, $136 million. We have identified $95 million of funds that we have available to use. 73 of that 95 comes from a non-recurring fund from the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. That's money that we've received from HHS in regards to COVID. And then in addition, $22 million in non-recurring funds from the Social Security income payments of individuals residing at the regional center. I'm gonna yield for any questions and any clarification, Courtney, because you know when I start doing numbers, I start getting upside down. Any questions from any commissioners about the regional center renovations? And the reason why we asked for this meeting to be moved, we actually have to put this on the JBRC agenda. The deadline to put that on the agenda is tomorrow, September 17th. So in order to meet a deadline timeline, we had to ask for the commission meeting to be moved up.
Commissioners?
I just wanted to say that, thank you. I just wanted to say that I am very thankful for what Senator Bennett would do through the proviso. Obviously, this commission doesn't have the power to do any proviso or anything like that, but it is worth mentioning that in 2021 and, well, at the end of 2020 and in 2021, this commission, some members are not here now that were on it, but at that time, but we did allocate millions toward the regional center renovations through the CPIP program. And so this is really a continuation. I see it as a continuation of that, and I think it's a very good thing to do. But so our carry forward, that's through our restricted funds then, and we're going to take this 73 million from the carry forward to there?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have on there.
Anybody else?
I just think we're blessed we have the money through COVID.
Yeah,
Make
I
it.
mean,
Silk purse out of Sal's ear.
yeah, for a good thing. This is a great thing.
Commissioner Thomas?
I have no questions. Thank you.
No. Let me just say this. State Director Rob McBurney and Commissioner Thomas, I used to know a little bit about provisos. And now I consider myself an expert. Bottom line is it works. And our hats off to Senator Bennett for seeing the need and stepping forward. And thank you very, very much for that. And if there are no other questions, I need a motion.
I wanted to ask you, we don't have a plan for the additional money that we're going to need, do we yet? 60 million or so?
Yes and no. So the plan is to, well, yes or no, because the plan may require us to, we're gonna do residential, of course. That's always primary. But the plan may, because of the funds available, may cause us to say we won't do anything to the administrative buildings. If we decide that we need more money, then we would go to the General Assembly and ask for additional funding in future budget requests.
So we're going to base it on the 73 million, 93 million first.
We're gonna base it on what we have first, do what we need with what we have, and then go from there.
That's good, thank you. Thank you, that's all.
You want to make a motion?
Yeah, I can make a motion that we approve the, these 73 million plus the 22 million to be used for renovations of the regional centers. And I think a lot of people there and a lot of people that deal with the regional centers would be thankful for that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Tab 4,
Thank you.
FY 25, spending plan budget versus actual expenditures. Leslie, how are you?
Good morning, I'm good.
You got any money for this commission?
I'm accounting for it.
Yeah, we just spent a bunch.
We're looking at it, and after, of course, tab 5 is going to do with what we request, what we request to go forward. Excuse me, I'm still a little bit jet lagged. It's been a whirlwind week. Tab 4 is the traditional, let's carry our budget. This is expenditures compared to actual budget. At this time, we're running a little sluggish. We're 1.6% behind in expenditures. That's fine. Revenue is good. Expenditures will pick up. The first 2 months of any fiscal year, it's kind of a time of putting all the money in the different accounts and getting everything set up for us to spend and go forward. I don't see anything on this particular report that causes me any concern or consternation, but I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Commissioners? And you direct it to the point.
Sweet, short and sweet.
Now we talk.
That's what we've always told our pastors at my church. We tell them, kids, keep it short, sir.
Bless the food, nothing else.
That's right. The tab 5
Okay, tab 5, go ahead.
is our draft proposal to go forward with what we're requesting for next year. The first tab of what I've given you here is a summary sheet of our priority list. And this is something we have to present to the Executive Budget Office, and that report is actually due the 27th, I believe, the end of this month. But the first one is state-funded residential services. It supports 48 individuals to whom traditional Medicaid reimbursable supports are not appropriate. These are individuals who may have been incarcerated, have behavioral problems, or extensive circumstances that we need to put them in a better secured living. That's 9.2 million, almost 9.3. It's for 48 individuals, which will cost approximately $193,000 per individual. And for 100 days, the per diem rate is $529.42 per day. And that's just the straight math on it.
What was that number again? That's interesting.
529.42. It's $9,275,380 for 48 additional individuals.
This is 48 folks. Would it then not include those that are on the waiting list, or?
Correct. Anything over that would be on the waiting list. So this is for 48 individuals, additional beds for them in these type of facilities.
How much did you say it was per day? That's fascinating.
Per day is $529.42. Per individual, it's $193,237.
Well, you're good with your math.
I go over it several times before I quote any number.
Don't worry, Barry checking you.
That's kind of his job. And actually, we have a vacancy in a big department.
I will say, I am not an accountant. I'm a budget guy. My kids call me a pre-bean counter. If I have beans, what can I do with them? I have to be accurate, but I'm not exact. My accountants have to be exact.
How many years have you been doing our budget situation for us?
For us, 1 year. I came in last January.
But prior to that, he was with.
Prior to that, I was with DHEC for 44 years, budget director there for about 15.
40 more years.
Yes.
So how many more years are you going to fight to see?
I'm not the type that I necessarily can sit back and do nothing. And I find that even when I do, my waistline expands, and
Yeah, I believe that.
my wife gets a little annoyed with me. So,
I believe that very much. I've heard that from many people. Anyway.
That's our first priority that we've listed here. And it's supported by the Autism Study Committee and legislative recommendations, as well as the Boston Consulting Firm. This next one is Employment Navigational Services. This will serve 750 individuals. That's for $975,000 or $1,300 per individual. What the Voc Rehab right now is responsible for the training of these individuals, helping them find employment. what we have found, the studies have shown that 95.75% of our clientele that go into these services, have utilized those services, most of them come out without a job. So what we are trying to do is create a system in which we can help those individuals become gainfully employed. Again, the studies, we supported as much as we could by the studies, and this would be a win for our consumers.
I like the fact they're going like one step over, so both rehab and then you guys are taking it to the next step, like, good for training, but then let's find you a job.
Correct. Okay, number 3 is a non-recurring request for capital funds to stand up additional residential services. This comes in at $17.5 million. It will serve or open up additional 100 beds, and that per diem rate is $479.45. Again, supported by the Palmetto Autism Study and the Boston Consulting Group. Now, number 4 is deferred maintenance on homes that we own. Unfortunately, at the time that I put this together, I did not have a firm figure, but it's estimated to be about $15.8 million. And that was based on taking the information I had at the time, the high and the low, and using the median instead of the mean. And that came in at about $281,000 per home. And then this way we can go along with Proviso 36.6 and get out of the real estate business. Because many of the homes, as I understand it, the individuals who are contracting with us or working out of those homes don't necessarily want to take them on in the condition that they're in. But this will at least give them the incentive to take care of the maintenance that should have been done all along.
That's right, by them, by the provider, that's right. But the biggest thing I would ask is, are we planning to get a guarantee that they're gonna take it if we do this work? They're gonna take the house home?
That is the intention. I don't know exactly how that would work at this point. I've just really been running.
Whose job would be to decide that? How that would work? Whose job would that be?
Well, I don't want to put you on
Well,
the spot.
I mean, the money would follow with them taking on the home. So to get the money, they would take the home on.
Right, that's what I'm trying to get to. I hope to get the money, they'd have to have the home.
That's correct, that's right.
Agree to take the home.
They'd agree to take the home, and then that's how they would access the money.
It's my understanding, if I understand the question correctly, it's my understanding that we don't necessarily convert the home or do the deferred maintenance. We give it to them as the incentive when they're buying the house, when they're taking on.
Okay, well, I think that's a better way to do it, as long as they do the renovation. I agree with that. As long as they actually do it instead of putting in their reserve fund or something else.
Right.
Which has, that kind of thing has happened in the past, but not that particular thing. Anyway, that's a long story. That's deferred maintenance on those houses is something that I've been dealing with since I got on the commission in 2020. And it's just a kind of a special project to me, but anyway.
Well, it is the intention of the group. Now, again, I haven't been involved in some of the detailed conversations, but it is the intention of the group that this would not be giving you a check and saying bye-bye, but that there would be those assurances in place that you're talking about.
So basically what you're saying, it'll be project-based.
I think that is
That's the
correct.
terminology that's used in the government. The individual don't get it. That money goes directly to the project. So it's project-based, so you have control over it.
Correct.
I just think we need a very detailed this written down very detailed for them so they understand and we understand what the deal is, like a contract. Because this is a lot of money. Anyway,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
The number 5 is the Greenwood Genetics Center. They're asking for $500,000 in recurring dollars, and this is to expand into the adult population. Because as I understand it, from talking with Dr. Skinner, that is one population that we don't necessarily reach out to, or not that we don't reach out to, but there are not services available. And so this would start moving towards that population. And then number 6 is a non-recurring to continue and sustain what they're already doing. Over the past 5 years, we have, through appropriations that were earmarked for them, to DDSN, $10 million have already been awarded. This year was the 5th year. And this is this is asking for the $1 million non-recurring. So in total, we're asking for $29,250,380 to be the other 15.8, another 15.8 in the renovation of our deferred maintenance of the houses to get them on the market.
Could I ask a question, Mr. Chairman? David here.
Sure. Absolutely.
Go back to the Greenwood Genetics Center. I had gone out and visited there one time, probably 5 years ago. They were really, really nice and informative and showed me all around the campus and all that. I often wonder, not just with DDSN, but with any entity that kind of gets involved with an outside group where we don't have sort of oversight and control. They have a board of directors and a great board, as I understand. I know the chairman real well. Did you say that the proposal for them was one time or recurring?
The $500,000 is recurring in nature. That reaches out to the adults. The $1 million is non-recurring.
There is money that comes to us, this pass-through money. Does it have anything to do with, I think it's $11 million, it's stuck in my mind some kind of way. Does this have anything to do with the pass-through that's already available to them?
The pass-through, the $500,000 would be an additional to that pass-through. So yes, the $1 million still supports what they're doing out there with the pass-through money, but it is a
excuse me for interrupting you, answering my question. How many they have a number of private entities that are set up that take money and do genetic testing. How many of those, and I mean, that's a money source. They make money off that. Well, how many are available, and how much comes in to them from those independent Greenwood sources that are set up? I think one's in Greenville, as I recall, but there are a number of them around the state. Do you know the number?
I'm afraid I do not. I will be glad to research it and get back with you.
They're also set up. I read about a year ago, maybe 9 months ago, they've gotten set up with, I believe it was University of South Carolina, in terms of joint project work. Can you fill us in on that at all?
I do know that one of the things, I cannot fill you in on that, but I do know that one of their partners is in USC and USC and what they're doing in the entity.
Is USC providing funds to do this collaboration, do you know, with Greenwood?
I cannot answer that. I do not know.
Do you know if there is any intellectual property that Greenwood has available to it, and I'm talking about in the form of patents that they do a lot of stuff, and they've got all. Y'all ought to go out there. We ought to set up something to go out there because they've got this incredible aquarium of these little tiny fish, and this is and they're doing all kinds of experiments. Now, when I went out there 5 years ago, I point blank asked the question about intellectual property. I know a little bit about that. I'm an attorney and know what it means, and everybody knows intellectual properties where you have patents and stuff like that. And then the money flows back, it splits up typically. And we passed something about 15 years ago relative to intellectual property. And Clemson, that was doing a bunch of stuff, but wanted to make sure it kept all its intellectual property, and they were doing patents, and they had a lot of stuff going by, and as you can imagine with all the technical things they do. I also know that out at Rice University, Dr. Tour out at Rice has about 100. He used to be at USC. He's a chemist, and he went out to. He was recruited by Rice, and Mr. Chairman, he's put out 150 patents. And started some spin-off companies that will accrue to the benefit partially to Rice University. So I had asked, knowing this and knowing something about this carbon technology that he was doing, I asked the gentleman, and I don't know who the director is now. I said, "How many patents have you obtained? In the life of genetics?" Greenwood Genetics, and he told me none, which stunned me. And I said, well, we need a pro to come in here because with all you guys are doing on genetics, you should be, I would think, patenting some of the discoveries that you have and all of that. And if it's not going through genetics, if it's flying out the window and going to somebody else who's doing patents, then we need to understand this. This is not a little bit of money. We could, in terms of what he's doing at Rice, the spinoff companies can produce billions of dollars ultimately. So I think when we're dealing with or any group that's outside and has an independent business, has entities that are taking in money, I'm wondering whether or not the state at some point in time needs to really, really get to the bottom of whether we should continue to be funding what could already be a totally self-sufficient group. And that's apparently the way that USC has taken it. So, Chairman, I would ask that we hold off on the Greenwood thing and let a couple of us go out and meet with the leadership there at the genetics facility and maybe go to one of their board meetings. I know that the chairman of that. I know the chairman of the board is from Greenville, and I'm sure they would be happy to have us come and ask, exactly what they're doing. Can you can anybody comment on any of this? Am I asking the right question? I mean, okay. The Greenwood, didn't the Greenwood thing, the pass-through with the Greenwood thing start like 20 years ago? I mean, we're passing money through to them all the time, and it's a money-making entity. This is not something that is like independent Department of Disability and Special Needs, which has to have money to continue to pass the money through. The question is, if you have a startup and you pay money and give money for a startup, that's one thing. This is not that. Greenwood gets money continually, yet they have independent sources of income coming in from their various entities around the state. I'd just love to see the numbers on that, particularly on a recurring issue. Chairman, help me.
Okay, Ms. Holloway, any comments?
I think I'm following Commissioner Thomas. He wants to know from Greenwood Genetics how much money they're getting from other entities, whether it be state entities such as ourselves, and then private entities. Is that correct, Commissioner Thomas?
Yeah, but they have like a Greenwood Genetics facility where you can come in to different Greenwood Genetics facilities around the state. I don't know how many there are, and somehow in the back of my mind there were 20. That may be way over the number. Maybe there are only 8 or 10 or something. Well, they make money off that, and they're very well known early on. They were able to come up with some really great breakthroughs relative to certain areas of genetic information, and so I don't know. The idea that they could be doing all this work for the past 20 years and have listen to me now, and have no patents is really kind of remarkable. And by way of critiquing this, I think we really need to start digging into what's going on at Greenwood Genetics for us. The pass-through, I'm not sure we can do. I mean, the pass-through is the pass-through, and that's set by proviso, I suspect. But wanting a recurring number and just sort of letting it, I just think we need to look real close and have some satisfaction that that the money we have poured into Greenwood Genetics is not a startup. This is a continuation of a money stream that is rather remarkable in its numbers. Maybe, if we looked at other entities around state entities, we would see similar things. But we're responsible for the one that's in front of us. So my request is I'd just love to see some numbers. I'd like to have a field trip maybe with a person or two on maybe you'd let me go, Mr. Chairman, or you could go with me and we could ask some questions. Let me say this. I'm not putting down Greenwood Genetics. They do a fantastic a service, and they're involved in that. There's just a lot of question marks I've got. And what triggered this was I had questions some time ago and thought, well, I'm sure they've got it under control. But now when I hear recurring numbers and knowing, why aren't you guys making tens of millions of dollars a year off patented genetic stuff that could get a return? And it's hard for me to understand how you can be in business in the genetics world and not have patents. I just don't get that at all.
Okay, here would be my recommendation, but this is a question first. On the motion, is it absolutely necessary that we move on the motion on number 3 today?
Yes. We have to submit our budget.
We have to submit.
Non-recurring?
Could we just take that particular thing off the budget request?
Say it again, Ron.
But if we approve the process going forward, I mean, if you decide to make a change, we can always pull it back later on, but we do need to get that placeholder in line item to the budget, because it's a function of getting it to the budget office.
We have to get it to the budget office, Commissioner Thomas, so how would you, and we need to move on the motion, so
this would be my recommendation.
Okay, what's your recommendation?
I would recommend that we approve the budget request as outlined after Commissioner Thomas, and I believe he's championing you also, Commissioner Miller, do their due diligence. At that point, we can withdraw, like, we have the ability to say, we made this request, we no longer want to honor this request.
Okay, Barry, you good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I think it's a good idea for one of us to go. And I think, and I want to reiterate one other thing about Greenwood Genetics Center that's important. As far as I don't know if we still have a vacancy, but for years, we had a person, the last one was Robin Blackwood, up until she left a year and a half ago almost, on the Greenwood Genetics Center as a non-voting member of that board. And so it would be an honor for me if they would consider trying to take on that responsibility to be a non-voting member of the Greenwood Genetics Board. I think that would solve a lot of our problems. Because we certainly do have a vacancy, as far as I know. Well, we did a year ago, I can assure you. I don't know if we still have a vacancy, because I don't know if they filled it with somebody else. But our board, our commission has normally had a non-voting member on their board.
Okay, Commissioner Coher?
I'm fine with it.
Commissioner Woodhead? Okay, so we will go with the, we're gonna pull the vote, go with the recommendation. Trustee, Commissioner Thomas,
Yes, sir.
and they made a song one time, says, "I'll be there." You remember that song? I'll be there.
I'll be there. Yeah, I can sing it. I know it.
Let's go ahead on.
We just need a motion to approve.
Well,
Motion
there's
approved.
one more thing. Are you asking for 29, or, but that is not inclusive of the 15?
It does not include the other 15. We are still trying to finalize that. So it's,
So really, we're maybe asking for 45.
45.
Yeah. It would be 45 with the non-recurring for the house renovation.
So it's really 45,
Right, it's 29 plus the 15.
89 at 181.
The one in yellow plus the 29. Yeah.
Okay.
If it's 15.8 million for,
The estimate at this point is 15.8. I understand that most of the assessments have come in, and it's a matter of calculating the numbers. Those were received late Friday, and it's a matter of calculating the numbers. I think the 15.8 is a solid approximation, but it could vary up or down depending upon what the situation of some of those houses were.
So much like the properties for the regional center renovations, we hired a company to go out and assess each one of these properties. How many properties is it? 57?
57.
As of last week, they had done assessments for 33 of the properties. They emailed and said they would not get the assessments to us until after the deadline. They have graciously offered to work overtime to get me those assessments prior to September 27th, which will allow us to put more of an accurate number in there. But what they did was take the assessments that they already have and do an estimate based on that.
so I just wanted to make sure though that we're not just asking for the 29,
No.
that it's really 45.
So let's do this. I'm going to ask the state director to state what you just said
I'm
before.
confused as to 45.
It's the 29 plus the 15.
Plus the 15.
The 15 has not come down to the bottom
Haven't
line.
coming down.
No.
We haven't included it in the.
Okay. So how would you, because to make sure that what Commissioner Thomas has requested, and then we pass this so that we can get it included into the budget, how would you word that?
Oh, so I would recommend that the commission make a motion to approve the budget as presented, with the understanding that after you complete your study, Commissioner Thomas, that we may or may not remove the request in regards to Greenwood Genetic from our budget request.
Can I get a so moved on that, Commissioner Thomas?
I second the motion if it needs a second.
She can't make a motion, so you need to make it.
Yeah, you need to so move it.
Well, I move we adopt the proposed budget.
Okay? Can I get a second?
Second with the,
All in, go ahead.
second understanding, we're adding 15 million to it, to 45.
45.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. All right, we're down to the director's update. Sounds like State Director Constance Holloway.
So good morning, everyone. First, I wanted to make note that we filed the DDSN accountability report on Friday, the 13th. The DDSN accountability report is a document that each state agency produces each year to give government officials, the legislator, and the taxpayers a summary of each agency's prior year. This year, the report was submitted last Friday and will be available on the South Carolina Department Administrative website soon. We will post the announcement of the release on DDSN's websites and via our social media as soon as it's posted by the Department of Admin. I want to spotlight this month an employee from PD's Regional Center, Deborah Orange Brown. Deborah has been with DDSN since May 17th of 1995. She started as a human service assistant and worked her way up to a trainer in staff development department. Deborah's overall positive attitude is an asset to her team. When things get tough, she shows up, rolls up her sleeves, and makes things happen. It's easy to show up, this is a quote from Deborah, it's easy to show up with a smile on your face when things are going well, but Deborah continues to show up with a smile on her face even when things have been tough. Having to teach classes throughout the entire month could be seen as rough on someone, but not Deborah. She loves what she does and is always willing to do what is needed for DDSN's PD Center to thrive. Hats off to Deborah. You're not just our spotlight, but the bright light that makes all of us shine. So last month, was that last month, PJ, the blood drive? I want to do some spotlights here at Central Office. That was last month? I can't remember. I actually gave blood, but I can't remember. So Central Office recently hosted its second blood drive in 2024 with 22 donors providing 15 total units. I think I gave 2 units, PJ. Saving up to 45 lives. Special thanks to all our employees for their generosity and support. We will be hosting our next drive on November 6, 2024. Also worth mentioning is DDSN and the South Carolina Department of Health and Human Services are offering free virtual training on healthcare for people with intellectual disabilities for providers. The ID Healthcare course is comprised of 6 on-demand modules. The training is available until June 30th, 2026. Please check the DDSN website for more information. Worth noting in our regional centers this month, PD's residents were transported to Cowboys Paradise during their Western themed camp week. Their consumers enjoyed a week of community outings and engaging activities such as bull racing, lassoing, gold digging, and cowboy competitions. They ended the amazing week with a hold-down showdown, lip-sync battle where units put on their best Western performance and line dance the day away. It was an unforgettable week that promoted friendship, outdoor fun, and the spirit of Wild West. The Saliba Center was seeing double at the recent Twins Day event, where caregivers, staff, and residents dressed alike, acted alike, and paraded in pairs while enjoying a fun day of activities throughout the facility. Coastal Center welcomed a new facility administrator, John Dooney. John Dooney previously served as a human resources director at the Coastal Center and served 21 years in the United States Navy. Dooney talked about his vision for Coastal Center. Without question, serving citizens with disabilities and special needs is my calling. My goals include, but are not limited to, ensuring our team exhausts all strategies to maintain health and safety, enhance training and onboarding for current and future employees, that's still the HR in them, and implement programs aimed at improving the quality of life for everyone we serve. And autism programs, DDSN staff members Stephanie Turner and Octavia Granum provided DDSN program resources with hundreds of providers and social workers at the recent Children's Trust Building Hope for Children Conference in Greenville. Also, transition employment updates. DDSN staff member Angela McGinty provided employment resources to more than 710 attendees at the Disability Resource Expo at the Kroc Center in Greenville. That's all of my updates.
Well, hats off to, on behalf of this commission, to Brown, Dooney, you're a Navy guy, Rob, you know it?
Navy is.
Tell them the Air Force said hello. Turner and Graham and McGinty?
McGinty, yeah.
McGinty.
Yeah.
We always want to commend those that make things better for those that we serve. And our hats are always off to them because we never know when our time will come. And we're just appreciative to all of you all for the job that you're doing to make our job much easier. And we are appreciative. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen?
Amen. Amen.
Okay. All right. Executive session. Commissioners, before any other thoughts or concerns, you okay?
Yep.
Any other thoughts or concern you want to, before we go into executive session, I have to call for a motion. We good? Okay, executive session, I need a motion to enter into executive session to talk about litigation update.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Ayes have it, so. We roll out of executive session, no motion made, no votes taken. On the agenda now is next regular scheduled meeting. October 17, 2024.
Well, we gotta say there was no vote.
We have to motion.
Oh, that's right.
Do a motion.
Do I get a motion?
Yeah,
I'm
motion to
sorry.
get back into session.
Motion?
I have a motion to go back into session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. So ordered. Next item on the agenda. Next regular meeting is October 17, 2024 at 10 a.m.
That's a typo, it should be 10:30.
It should be 10:30. Is everyone in agreement with 10:30 instead of 10 a.m.?
I have no problem with that. I'm thrilled with 10:30.
That's fine.
Commissioner Thomas, 10:30 instead of 10 o'clock?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. So ordered. All right, need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Well, except that we should say, I think, that there was, we did say no motion taken, but we should say there was no other need for action outside of the executive session.
So move.
Just taking action in
No.
executive session.
No, I mean, there was no need for
No
action
need for
outside.
action taken.
No, action outside of executive session, because normally we take action outside, but we didn't need to this time. I just think it's interesting, I just think people should know that we didn't take any action outside of executive session.
I think it's properly noted. All right,
Okay, thank you.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Ayes have it. So ordered.
10:30.